The Coaches Show is brought to you by Highway 55, Burgers, Shakes, and Fries. The Professional Fence Company. Our name says it all. No job too big or too small. Nunboys.com. And GPS Photography and Video, GPSPhotoandVideo.com. We're back. Welcome to the Coaches Show. The Coaches Show is brought to you by Professional Fence Company. Their name says it all. No job too big or too small. Give them a call. 910-875-5912. And, of course, Highway 55, Burgers, Shakes, and Fries. Nunboys.com, GPS Photography and Video, GPSPhotoandVideo.com. Coach, Friday, Southview Tigers coming to town. New coach, new offense, new defense. What have you seen based on what they've got going on over there?
Offensively, they're not at all dissimilar from the things they were doing last year with Coach Ledford. They will line up in some spread to work the perimeter. They do a lot of multiple pro out of the eye, and basically just a power sweep team when they're in the eye. Working the perimeter out of the spread, running counter, running zone.
Matchup-wise, we should match up pretty good with them.
No doubt about it.
They're 1-2, lost to Scotland County. They beat Lumberton, and then they lost to Graves Creek. So 1-2 as they come into Raz Autry. They seem tight end dependent. The number 81, I believe it is.
They're
like
set
to throw to him a lot.
They are set dependent. They like the tight end. They like the fullback. They like to throw the ball to the fullback. Do a lot of flood patterns. And they utilize a few different fullbacks.
Yes.
And all of them are big and they're good-looking football players. They run hard. They block well. Their offensive line is very nice size. You look at them and they're impressive on the hoof. We feel like our team speed negates that a little bit, and certainly if we improve how we need to, hopefully that'll show.
And then front seven?
Defensively?
Yes.
Well, it's a little bit. We've watched them do three different things defensively, and versus the three different teams that they've played, and what we anticipate them doing is a little bit of a recycle of their defensive game plan that they utilize versus Scotland, because our offenses are so similar. And the more I think about it, I'm confident. If I was Coach Brewington, I would recycle that game plan extensively, kind of banking on the fact that we're not Scotland. But that's what we anticipate. We've worked against the two things that we feel like they do best. One's a 4-3 hybrid and one's a 3-4 hybrid. And it's going to be an interesting challenge.
Yes, it is. Especially with where our offensive line has been playing, and now we're waiting on our front seven, because the matchup should be there. A good team, but I don't want to call them in the same boat as New Hanover, Jack Britt, or 71st.
Well, I don't think you can at this point in the season. Just you look at the numbers based on the record to date, and it's no comparison.
Right. And of course, this time last year, this was our first win. What's interesting, second win. We did win with Tenacity. Second win.
It's okay.
But what was interesting last year, this time, I'm out there, get ready to film on Thursday, get ready to film the JV game. I get a text from Coach Walworth, and he says, "Glenn, stand fast. We're doing the varsity game on Thursday." So that completely changed your whole game plan. And we talk about weather, and you just got to be flexible. Now, that very well could happen again this week. And I believe last year they were supposed to play at Raz Autry. They were supposed to be home because the JV game was at Southview. So we ended up playing both games back to back. And, of course, it went down to the last play.
Actually, I think the JV game was supposed to be at home.
Okay.
And we moved it. What we wanted to do, what we ended up deciding to do, was to play both of them on the same day.
Right.
And the only way we could do that was to have both of them on the same site.
I got you.
And with the JV and the varsity, since we coached both teams together.
So that was a thing of being flexible and making a change. And with the weather, that's just the way it is. Like last week, you went in and you played on Saturday, but then Monday there was no school due to Labor Day. Was that a plus or minus? Was that like gave you a feel of with no school, is that an advantage, like almost like a bye week feel, or
No.
extra work, or no?
In reality, from a football perspective, Labor Day is a hassle. It's a hassle because it knocks families out of
That last trip of the year.
doing a lot of things. And for the most part, football families understand that Labor Day is the beginning of a game week. There have only been 2 times in my 25 years where we were fortunate enough to have an open date on the Friday after Labor Day.
Right.
And if you can do that, then you can take Labor Day off. You don't have to practice on that day. But if you got a game,
Yeah. Makes it
the season waits on no one.
No, it doesn't. And we're already in week 3, and it's like, like a snap of a finger. You're in game 4. So as now as Southview comes in here, Coach Brewington, now he's an inside hire. He was already at Southview.
No, he was in Florida.
Okay.
He was in Florida. He is originally from Cumberland County.
Okay.
But I'm trying to remember the name of the school he was at. I can't think of it right off the top of my head. But he's had a good run in Florida, and I'm not sure what his connections are to Southview, but I do know he's heavily connected in Cumberland County, and he's came back home.
And so I'm sure it was a great opportunity for him. As we go in, looks like the JV kickoff tomorrow at 7 o'clock over at Southview.
6:30.
6:30?
Yeah.
Now, why did you change to 6:30? Is that the weather?
Cumberland County moved their times up 30 minutes.
But I thought they only moved to varsity.
Well, we thought so too.
Really?
Until we got ready to play 71st last week.
Yeah.
71st.
Oh. Well, last week we kicked off at 7 though, right?
We kicked off at 6:30.
Wow. Well, it pays to be early, so that's a new one on me. I thought it was just a varsity game, but now you got to be there at 6:30 if you want to kick off with Southview. 6:30 tomorrow out at Southview. 40% chance of rain. Looks like Friday we're going to be okay, but if so, we'll just have to be flexible and make that change again. Any major adjustments that you made this week?
We're not sure yet. No intentional personnel adjustments. Brandon McClary has developed an issue with an eye. Initially, we thought it was pink eye. However, the preliminary evaluation leads us to believe that it is not. And so we're hoping he's back and ready to go tomorrow. Larai Fuentes is not back yet.
Really?
No, he's not.
What's going on?
It turns out that he was ejected for fighting, and
he was supposed to be gone last week.
Of course, my argument was it wasn't a fight. He admitted that he swung at the kid one time. A fight implies 2 or more participants. And therefore, if it was a fight, then there should have been another ejection.
Right.
And so my argument was it should only be for one game, but for whatever reason, my argument didn't hold water.
So now he's out the Southview game.
He's out the Southview game too.
So a total of 2 games, when initially we thought it was just that game and the next game.
Right now, it's the ejection game plus 2. And,
But did he say something to the referee?
He did not.
But now they're telling you, wow, that's interesting.
It's bizarre how that situation has evolved, and it's frustrating because it's really frustrating for the player. He is genuinely remorseful. It's frustrating for me because there was no fight.
Right.
We did not see what took place. He did admit to it after the fact, after we appealed it, and of course when he did, I withdrew my appeal.
But did they explain why it was 2 games instead of 1?
They said for fighting.
Wow.
And my argument didn't go anywhere.
Well, I'll tell you what, Coach.
What do you do?
There's not too much you can do. Just keep playing. I think the matchups are there. I think we're in good shape going into these next 3 weeks, to be honest, but you only play them one at a time. So if Southview comes in here, do you get the feeling that, this is where we start off or make our run?
Absolutely. We can't continue to do what we've been doing. This is where we have to start it.
Right.
It's no different than last week. We felt like
And if it's there, they play well, but we start off with a fumble on the first drive and
First play.
first play
of the
offense.
game.
So, yeah.
You know, it's just, it's almost maddening.
Yeah, it is.
You turn it over to first play of the game, they go on to score.
And you play on your heels the rest of the game.
Well, you know, there were 6 mistakes in the first half that essentially kept us out of being in that game in the first half. And while I felt like we played better in the second half, it was too late. It was just too late.
Well, when we come back, we're going to do our Ask the Coach segment. We got a couple of questions for you, so we'll be right back.